Team USA, they did get it done, Rob. It looked hairy at times. They lost to Nigeria, which, Rob, went 0-3 in the Olympics. I actually thought Nigeria was going to be good after they beat Team USA. I was thinking like, oh, man, they've really turned Nigeria around from getting beat by 80-something to beating Team USA, and then they go to the Olympics, Rob, and lay a stinker. And then Australia beat Team USA. It was looking bleak. Then France beat them in the first game. But they they gathered themselves, and Kevin Durant was spectacular. And they go ahead and win the gold, beating France 87-82, Rob, in the final. They did avenge their losses. They beat Australia, which had beaten them. Then they beat France in the gold medal game. So good for them. But Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, it's funny how they're buddies again. Yeah, right? Yeah. They took the opportunity, Rob, to shout out all those that doubted them. Most notably, our friend who's doing his thing over at the other network, Mr. Kendrick Perkins. Here's KD and Draymond talking about Perk.
Everybody who said we was going to take the L, they had some power rankings out.
Kendrick Perkins, you talk a lot of act like you American.
They had some power rankings out. They had us fourth behind Slovenia.
Like this not our game.
Come on, man. Talking about they catching up to us. Like, are you serious? This skill is unmatched. You dig? Shout out to everybody that won this gold. Everybody that chipped in and helped out. We're going to the press conference, but I had to talk my real quick.
All right, there's more, Rob, before we weigh in on this. So Draymond, do we have Draymond from the press conference? Okay, we don't have Draymond, but it's interesting, Rob. I'm going to read a little bit of what he said. You turn on American Sports Talk TV and you got guys like Kendrick Perkins, doubting us. Somebody needs to teach these people some loyalty. How about you cheer for your country? But then when you guys don't play, you need, then when guys don't play, like LeBron, Steph, those guys that didn't play, you need to go represent the country. And then you lose, hit a little bump in the road, and everybody's called America. You are an American too. Act like it. Do your job. I do some media stuff. I understand doing your job. But when you talk about a special group, you better be sure you're right. And a lot of people got it wrong. And trust me, I'll be posting those guys. I'll be posting everybody I found who said something. No one holds people accountable anymore, but I will. Now, finally, Rob, Kendrick Perkins, of course, hopped on Twitter and responded. This is interesting what he said too, Rob. Imagine winning a gold medal for your country, and the first name you utter walk into the locker room is Kendrick Perkins. That's something Rob Parker would say if Tom Brady won the Super Bowl and was like, I got you, Rob Parker, doubt me now. I mean, you'd be happy. You'd love that, wouldn't you? Like, on your mind. No, I got real estate in your head, right?
You remember when they featured me on that Patriots video, don't you, Rob G? You remember that?
Yes.
It was clips of me talking, and when they beat the Chiefs, me and then Tom Brady making plays. That was on their right. Like I'm cool with that.
I got real estate in your head, right? Like Joel Embiid said. So then Perk goes, wow, I appreciate it, fellas. And congrats on winning the gold. Carry on. That's his famous line, Rob. Carry on. If I'm the first name that gets mentioned after a monumental moment like winning gold, I welcome it. I like it. Like I see it, or I call it like I see it, and Team USA heard me loud and clear and responded. Love or hate, I'm here. Get used to it. Congrats to Team USA and carry on. And then he said it's almost as if we have a new Charles Barkley in town, meaning himself, Rob, that he could be the new Charles Barkley. I'm just going to say this quickly, and then I know you want to weigh in a lot. Here's what I'd say to Draymond and KD. Look, they can gloat. They won the gold. They can do all that. I got no issue with that. But what I will say, Rob, is who was the one? Yeah, there were maybe a few others. But who was the main one? Who was the real voice of authority who was saying the world's caught up? Wasn't it your coach? Greg Popovich after every loss when reporters are like, yo, what's going on?
Right.
And he would say, for everyone to hear, the world has caught up. He actually said it's not a surprise when we lose. So my thing is talk your ish to him because he's your own coach. He's in your locker room. And Draymond, he was coaching that special group as you tagged him. So before you get mad at the media, get mad at him for saying that the world caught up. And my thing was this, Rob. Yes, the whole world, the globe, the planet, yeah, they caught up. So you got Luka from Slovenia, you got Giannis from Greece, by way of Africa, you got Joel Embiid from Cameroon, Jokic. You got great players around the world who, yeah, have caught up. But no one country has caught up. France hasn't caught up. Nigeria hasn't caught up. Slovenia hasn't caught up. Serbia hasn't caught up. Spain hasn't caught up. Argentina. So we should not be getting beat by any one country in this international play. But I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Rob.
First thing, proclaiming that you're the next Charles Barkley, I think that's a little extreme. You don't need to say that or put that out there yourself. Just do your job. People will recognize.
He's doing a good job, Rob.
No, but I'm just saying, but he should be recognized. I'm just saying,
that's a lot. Yeah, you put
like
on
you're
yourself.
asking for a lot. You know what I'm saying? To even say that to yourself. That's like a young sportscaster, Chris, in our day saying, "I'm gonna be Howard Cosell," or you know what I mean?
Or really, Rob, it's like a young player saying, "I'm gonna be Larry Bird."
Exactly.
I'm gonna be the next, Magic Johnson. I mean,
it just
let
puts
others
too much
say
on
that.
you.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
a ton to
so
put on you.
that's
I
first off. But number two, I don't Draymond. I've done some media stuff, so I know. You know what? That reporters are supposed to not pick sides. It doesn't matter if you're from the United States and you're covering the games. If you really believe Australia has the better team and that's your analysis, Chris, you would pick Australia. You wouldn't pick the United States just because. That sounds ridiculous. You don't change your reporter's hat. I don't know what journalism school. I know he went to Michigan State, but he didn't take up journalism. That's just not how it's done. So this whole notion that it's un-American and aren't you an American? You should root for the home team is totally ridiculous and speaks to someone who doesn't get journalism whatsoever. Because if that was the case, then Donald Trump would have never been harassed, you know what I mean, by the media. Isn't he the president of the United States? Shouldn't you be rooting for him? Come on, man. That's not how it's done.
And I think Dre and KD said some things about Trump when he was president.
Right. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hadn't even thought about that. That's an excellent point. But you know this, Rob. And Rob, a lot of lay people, as we'll call them, don't get this.
They really
when
don't.
When you're a writer, like I covered the Nets, I covered the Cavs, I covered the Knicks. I traveled, to every game, was at every practice.
Every night, right.
We don't pull for the team.
No.
We're objective reporters, and we're writing what happened. We're analyzing it and so on and so forth. So I get the Olympics. Yeah, I wanted Team USA to win. I want the Americans to win. And the Olympics is a little different, but still, to your point, that's not going to change my analysis.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? I still say Nigeria, I think, is better than us this year. Whatever it may be.
Whatever the school. Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's the only thing is that I don't get that whole aspect. And these guys, and once again, I think Perkins is right that you just want a big moment, you want a gold medal, and you're really worried about Kendrick Perkins and his opinion. I just don't.
That's
please.
Great for Kendrick. Ain't it?
Right. I'm just saying, but I don't get that. I really don't. Like, I don't get that from the standpoint of enjoy and bask in your moment. You know what I mean? It was almost like the Michael Jordan Hall of Fame speech, right?
Oh, God.
Where he took everybody to task, like
Yes.
Mike, let it go. Talk about what you accomplished, what it meant to you, not this angry man swinging at the clouds.
Right.
Right there, there's my high school coach. He cut me. There's the guy. Where's the guy who
first
took my
it started
place?
off cute, right? Oh, he learned from that. And it kept going, and it was like, oh man,
It was ugly, Chris.
serious.
Right, he was dead serious. Let me invite everybody up here who wronged me, and I'm going to point them out. Look, I'm in the Hall of Fame. You know, like, you don't have to do that. You just don't.
I look, I get if they had been like, yeah, everybody doubted us, right? Because we're on every show, and not just us, but everybody's talking about it. A lot of people saying what's going on, we're gonna lose. So I get it was out there that y'all might not win. That so if they had said, yeah, all the haters, we did it, we told y'all we get gold, y'all doubt us. But I think when you throw individual names out,
right,
it makes you look. It really helps the individual. Yeah, it makes you look petty, and it makes the individual really look good. I get it. Kendrick was a teammate of KD's. I'm sure they all know each other, obviously, and so maybe that Rob got him. That's why he shouted out Kendrick. But you really didn't hurt Kendrick.
No, you helped him.
Really, right. I mean, he's got his chest stuck out. So. It is what it is, but you gotta realize that there's nothing wrong. And I say this all the time, Rob, when this type of thing comes up with us. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, whoever, they're doing the same thing we do, Rob. They do it privately. They do it in their living room with their boys. They do it in the barber shop. They do it in the locker room. They talk about players
all the time.
They go on a podcast sometimes and even talk about, players or other sports. And then they get surprised when it becomes a big story. We're doing it right here in the public for everybody to see. It's no different. Everybody talks about athletes, the good, the bad. You love some, some you don't think are that good. It's just what people do, and what we're doing is no different. We're just doing it publicly. That's all there is to it. But, that was a situation with Team USA. Congratulations. They got the gold. Right. Rob, I'll say, and look, a win is a win. But Team USA had 9 All-Stars on that team, 9 guys who had been All-Stars. France had 1. We won by 5.
Right, so let's not get carried away.
Right, I mean, just understand that, and I'll say this, and I said it on TV today, Rob. Team USA is in a no-win situation when it comes to men's basketball. If you win, you just did what you're supposed to do. And if you lose, you're going to get criticized substantially. All right, so it is what it is. You got to understand that. Congratulations on the win. Of course, we wanted Team USA to win, so we're happy for you. And happy, that you brought home the gold where it should be, we believe. But the analysis is going to be objective regardless.
And here's the other thing real quick. Had Kendrick Perkins been right, would they have shouted him out and said, Kendrick Perkins was right. Oh, wow. We lost.
Said we weren't that good.
He nailed it. No. And that's the thing that kills me with these guys. Chris, when you're right, do they ever come back and say, Chris Broussard got that right? No, they don't.
No,
they only point out the ones you got wrong, and that's the problem.
Right. We're talking KD. We're talking Draymond. We are talking Kendrick Perkins and the media. Your turn to weigh in.
All right, let's kick it off with Josh in Arizona. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Josh?
How you boys doing, man? First off, I want to say big fan of what you guys are doing. Been following your careers. Love it.
Thank you.
Real quick. I agree with your objectivity points on journalism. I do think Draymond and KD being a little sensitive. But I will play a little devil's advocate with you. I think the media may be being a little sensitive as well. I think these players have a right to go on their platforms and voice their, discomforts with the different story and headlines that are coming out. And I think it's a twofold type of deal, and sometimes the media seems like they get a little sensitive, uptight, that the players are shooting back a little bit. I just think it's fair game, and everybody should understand it.
I agree with you. I mean, this is new for a lot of media because, players, when we were beat writers, there was no social media.
No,
so
but
if a player had an issue
stepped
with
to me
something
in
you
public.
said, right? They'd see you at
I don't have
practice,
any
but
issue with that.
it wouldn't go public in most cases. I never had it go public in any case where I had an issue with a player, and you'd have to face them at practice and you'd hash it out or whatever. But now they got social media and they will shoot back, and it's their right. I totally agree with the caller, and if you dish it out, you got to be able to take it. So
I don't have an issue with that.
The players can do that. Yeah,
they can do whatever they want, but I don't think most of them understand journalism, and that's the part. We could disagree. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to be on board. You talked about it earlier. Just because I cover the Golden State Warriors don't mean I'm on board with everything that goes on.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's the only part. Like it's okay. Like we could disagree. We could just disagree on stuff. Sean in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Sean?
My uncle's from another mother, man. Hey, my brother behind the board. We need to get Tyser back. I don't know what you got to do with them contract negotiations, baby.
Yes.
We can't lose that fourth leg of the show, man.
He's stretching it.
I know. Our table is wobbly right now.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not nothing against you, Don. You know what I'm saying?
The heavy one does his thing. The
That's right.
table's wobbly because the
Tell John
heavy
to go
one's
ahead
on
and
it.
cut the check, man. Put that big book under the table leg that's wobbling so we can make it whole, baby. Let's make it happen,
he wants
Big
too much
John.
money now that he's the star of Tyser's Tower.
Now he's got his own segment now. You know what I mean?
He's the man.
Hey, man, Weeb Nation blowing up. But my take real quick, man, is I feel like Kendrick should have been on that gold medal platform with them brothers, man, with how inspired they were based on his commentary. KD, the most sensitive of all time, man. If you don't get out your feelings, man, I liked you better when you were thanking your mama as the real MVP during your speech for that, instead of over here crying about what the media got to say. If y'all want to do anything, read a couple articles, talk bad about the media for how they forgot to put a comma beforehand or dot their I's, but don't try to get on them for talking about sports, because without the media, y'all wouldn't be who y'all are today.
Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. Without the media, and I'm not tooting our horns, but let's just face it. If you're not on TV, if you're not written about on websites, Rob, and newspapers, talked about on radio, you're not making these millions.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
You're just a bunch of brothers playing some basketball, some football, whatever. And that's great. I mean, we just a bunch of brothers talking about it and writing about it. But just understand, you need the media. That's how you get.
That's how you
all
reach
this
the
money.
masses.
Yes.
That's how you reach the masses. Yeah. Rob in South Florida, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Rob?
Okay, thanks for taking my call. First,
Yes.
I think we should draw a line between radio and TV personalities and honest-to-goodness journalists that have integrity and objectivity.
No
Because
doubt.
some people are just out here for a free ride. They're just riding the coattails of these athletes and saying stuff to just garner some attention for themselves. And I agree that they all should have thanked the media for their objectivity and motivation. And if they want a cheering section, they can wait for the 30 for 30 at that other network. And it's going to make everybody happy.
No.
Well, you know what, Rob? He makes a good observation in that there is a difference now. I mean,
No, it's a
sports
blurred line.
personality,
It's a blurred
right?
line, right.
It's not like Rob. I do TV now, and I do radio, and I am a commentator, an opinionist, obviously a broadcaster, a personality now. At ESPN, I was largely a reporter. I don't write stories anymore. I don't try to break news anymore. I'm not a reporter anymore. Right. I'm giving my analysis and my opinion, and there is a difference. You know what I'm saying, Rob? Like, and some dudes, it's just that's different than a guy that's being a journalist.
Even though I've done the same television and radio, Chris, I've never given up being a reporter. You know that. I've never stopped writing the entire time. And when people see me or ask me, like, what do you do for a living? I always say I'm a sports writer. To this day, like I do, even though I've done all the other mediums as well. You know what I mean? And I write a column for Deadspin, and I don't root, and I try to. You know what I mean? I'm still a writer. I'm still a columnist, and that's really, and it's different. Everybody's different. People are sports personalities. You know, I'm listed as for my high school. You know what I'm listed as? Sports columnist and TV personality. Because that's what it is now. You got people who are TV personalities. So
I put sports broadcaster.
Is that what
analyst.
you put? Mm-hmm. An analyst.
I haven't written a word since I've been at Fox.
Have you not written in 5 years? Do you miss
Not
it at
a
all?
Word. I miss.
You know, that's such
really
a God-given
enjoyed,
talent. You know how hard it is to write.
I did like writing. And you know what? And this is a little insight for our listeners. You remember Tom Friend? Did you know Tom Friend?
Yeah, Tom from Seattle.
Yeah, I didn't know him that well, but I
knew him real well.
He was a great writer.
Yeah.
Like he wrote some great stories. He was a sniper. I mean, he went after dudes and then would never see them again. But he was a really good writer. And I remember one time we both worked at ESPN the magazine, and he said something. He said, "Writing is painful." When you're like a really good writer, like I used to labor over every word, man. You know, and I really was I really wanted my stuff to sing. And so, but then, you know, when you're done and you see it in the paper or you see it in the magazine or something,
Right.
There's no better feeling. You know what I'm saying? But it's just challenge. You know, it's just, I put so much into it. But magazine articles were fun to write. You spend tons of time with athletes. The access was phenomenal. Sideline reporting was fun. So some of that, I enjoyed it. But, you know, I've moved on to something new, and I really love what I'm doing now.
I just look at it still as I'm like an old school Chris newspaper columnist.
You are.
Still.
You're a hardcore
right?
journalist. You like,
I just am.
Yeah, that's what you're about. Yeah.
I'm still that same guy that started with a column back at the Detroit Free Press in 1993. Really, that's like that voice, having an opinion, good or bad about somebody. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? And whatever comes with it. So that's where we are.
Well, now what you are, and what I tell people, it's like I moved from being a beat writer to a columnist just on TV.
No, right.
And that's what you're doing the same thing you did in the column just on radio and TV now. So